Peace. Okay. There he is, the man of the
My
hour.
brother, let me put this in the stand. How you doing, my brother?
Well, I'm getting through hump day pretty well. How about you?
Oh, blessed through it all. Hectic, but blessed through it all. I try to keep it in perspective.
Right. That's a good way to think of it. We just keep things moving and we're
You
better
know?
better for
Yes, sir.
it. So first of all, thank you for joining me. I always think of you when I see these impactful times we're going through, and everything that you're doing in so many ways, and just such a blessing that had this connection. Just seems like yesterday I was a little nappy-headed boy going to Sebastian, and you were up there directing before I joined the choir. I'm like, I want to do that choir thing sometime. I did eventually.
Yeah.
So I just have a few questions. I won't take up too much of your time as for our State Board of Public Relations. I thought since I'm on the Communications Committee, I'd take the initiative to have something for Juneteenth. I think it's really important to
Yes.
share with our community, not just our board and our members, but as a whole. So I wanted to,
Yes.
and I know you're a great person to echo this. So I'll just turn off my camera and then just have these few questions for you. Let me
Yes,
see.
sir.
Stop my video. Okay. Let me start you. Okay. Whoops. Okay. I think this will work. Um, okay. There we go. So, let me say first of all, really great this Sounds of Blackness story and spokesman just a few days ago. And I was looking for something and I found it. I'm glad I did because it just really, I guess the years just pass and you don't think about landmarks. So I just want to start with, the story has this theme of culturally conscious music for half a century, which is mind-boggling when you think about all the decades that have passed. But so much has happened. First of all, just talk about, how you feel about continuing this culturally conscious music and how this legacy and this platform has continued on.
Thank you, my brother. We appreciate you on behalf of Sounds of Blackness, celebrating 53rd anniversary here in 2024 by the grace of God and by the support of people like you and our entire community, city, state, nation, and world. And we're grateful for that. But to answer your question, we feel obligated to live up to our name, Sounds of Blackness, meaning every sound of the African American experience. So everything from spirituals, gospel, blues, hip hop, rock, country, rock and roll, jazz, soul music, reggae, ragtime, all of the great music that God has blessed us as a people to create, and that the whole world marvels at and tries to imitate. So we live up to that name, every sound of blackness. That's again the meaning and origin of the name, and it's an honor and a blessing to be able to try to uphold that legacy. We give credit to that, to my late great mom and your late great mom, who really guided us in that way from our childhood, and then Professor Mahmoud El Kadi, who were was a professor at McAllister College when Sounds of Blackness was born. In the late 60s and the very early 70s. And he guided us culturally, historically, and still does to this day, Professor Mahmoud El Kadi. And so we thank God for it. We thank people like him and many others for their guidance. And we take very seriously being standing on the shoulders of giants and bringing the music of the Black experience to all people around the world.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. And you spoke about the shoulders of giants. In this article, spokesman, one of them you spoke about is Duke Ellington, and you've
Yes.
interspersed how, all kinds of music and, being inspired by greats like Duke Ellington that kind of connected you to draw into inspirational messages. Just talk about that inspiration, which has really been the foundation for Sounds of Blackness.
Yes, sir. Duke Ellington is my and Sounds of Blackness principal musical mentor. We hear Duke's name and we think of jazz, and we certainly should. We better. But many people don't know that Duke wrote, recorded, and performed spirituals, gospel, anthem, blues, African world beat music. He did the music of the culture. And so we can't claim credit, independent credit for that without acknowledging that Duke Ellington set that template years ago. And so we follow in his example in that regard.
Then also you mentioned Billie Holiday. She's talked about strange fruit and relating to the lynching. So that's another powerful inspiration.
Yes, it is. You know, Lady Day, the great Billie Holiday, many people mistakenly think of God Bless the Child, one of her biggest hits and most popular songs. Many people mistakenly identify that as her theme song, but she made it clear in writing, in her shows, in her contracts, that Strange Fruit about the lynching of our people was her theme song. In fact, she was this serious about it, Brother Darrell. Billie Holiday, and it's documented. This is not folklore. You can see this in her contracts. Well, let me put it that in context quickly. The U.S. government had banned radio stations from playing Strange Fruit. How about that? But you know, a sister will not be stopped. Okay, so in her live performances, she literally had it in her contracts, written and codified, and we can see that she had to perform that song, Strange Fruit, that it had to be the last song in her set, that there could be no movement, serving of anything at all, and that of course there could be no movement, no serving, and there had to be a spotlight on her the entire time. So she was very serious about the movement, and of course, as embodied in the song "Strange Fruit."
Yeah, it also embodies people of color in the music through the 60s and the 70s. And this article is also about, James Brown, Soul Brother number
Yes,
one, and also
yes, sir.
Aretha Franklin. So let's talk about that.
Yes, you mentioned rightfully the King of Soul, who we were blessed to meet and speak with on a few occasions, and the Queen of Soul, who we were also blessed to meet and sing and work with on a few occasions. Um, Both were adamant about their principal theme songs. Of course, with the Godfather James Brown, he wrote and recorded, Brother Darrell, the song that I believe is the singular most impactful song in our history. "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud," because number one, he used the voice of children. So people miss this because it's scriptural, as I know you know, that "and a child shall lead them." Those are children's voices singing with James Brown on "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud." You can see it in the video. Number two, in that 1 3 minute song, Brother Darrell, he addresses and dispels not only not relating to African or blackness, but colorism, which of course is still a huge issue today. Many people, and I'm sure you remember this at the time, were ashamed of or denied and refused to be called black. They'd rather be called colored or Negro or anything that did not relate to our Africanness. But he not only said, "Say it loud, I'm black," say it loud, "I'm black and I'm proud," and went on to talk about that. And like I say again, use the children's voices to bring the next generation into it. So, and then the same with the Queen of Soul, and it's so appropriate that the king and queen would have these principal songs about uplifting our people and cultural and ethnic pride. With Aretha, and I spoke with her. I'll never forget, the longest time that we spoke was at the funeral of the late great Luther Vandross, and Luther and Aretha were like sister and brother. But we were speaking after the funeral, and somehow the subject came up about respect. And she said, "Gary, I know everybody, thinks respect, is my number one." He said, but she said, what's really my heart is to be young, gifted, and black." That she recorded years ago, kind of thing. So it was always about the people and about the movement, and that's part of the legacy that Sounds of Blackness are heirs to.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You have that perspective. You
Mhm.
think about the years, seeing that you're getting on the national stage, starting with the Urban League's convention in 1974, getting to be on the same stage with Edwin Hawkins. Oh, happy day and Pointer Sisters,
Yes.
all of that. talk about how that period was that you guys really evolved into this inspirational movement.
Well, that's another scriptural type event, Brother Darrell. How in the Old Testament it talks about how things beget other things. We Sounds of Blackness performed at the 1973 McAllister College Black Graduation Recognition Ceremony, and the father of a dear friend of mine, classmate of mine, Lori Steele, now Lori Chapman, and her brother and her excuse me her husband Larry Chapman. But Lori's dad, Mr. Percy Steele, rest his soul, was present, and he said we met him, and he said, Gary, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to get Sounds of Blackness to the National Urban League convention in San Francisco, and you're going to perform with the Pointer Sisters, the Edwin Hawkins Singers, Abby Lincoln, and we were like, oh my God! And so, by the grace of General Mills, Pillsbury, Northwest Airlines, and the National Urban League, Sounds of Blackness did make it out to San Francisco, and that was our first full-blown national stage. And so, from that point, we were just so honored to take the message of Sounds of Blackness to the ministry and the music national, and then what was to ultimately become international.
And then that kind of emergence continued as the Northside Black Festival, our luminaries, Prince, the time Andre Simone, and then, Prince getting that international recognition, taking off, and how you had that great opportunity. I didn't know that you recorded the song Scandalous for the first Batman movie. Prince said, "Oh, I have an idea, Gary. Tell me about that. Tell me about that."
I will, and the chuckle is because of this. First of all, I miss our dear brother. It's still kind of surreal that he's no longer walking among us, at least in the physical presence. I know his spirit and his music will remain forever. But I chuckled because I knew we a friendship and brotherhood 40 plus years, and Prince had some quirks about him. As long as we had known each other for decades, he would still 9 out of 10 times when he had talked, he would say your full name. And he would call at like 2 or 3 in the morning, like it was noon, the middle of the day, and just start in. Not that I disturb you, or you okay? Just start in. So he called one morning at like 2 or 3 in the morning and said, Gary Hines said, I have this idea for the Sounds of Blackness, Gary Hines. I'm doing something. And at the time, actually, he couldn't even say what the project was because they were really keeping it under wraps that he was doing the soundtrack, the studio, the film studio was. So he said, Gary Hines, I need you to bring Sounds of Blackness out to Paisley just for a couple of hours, Gary Hines. And so we went out, and I'll never forget, it was on a Halloween night that we recorded what was supposed to be a 2 hour session. Of course, we were there all night. But we had a great time, and then Sheila E., bless her heart, our dear friend, did a lot of the engineering on that recording, and Prince, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, all of them, Brother Darrell, when they came into their international stardom and celebrity, they never forgot about Sounds of Blackness, and Jam and Lewis signed Sounds of Blackness as the first artists on their respective records label. So to this day, we're honored by that. And as you mentioned, of course, the Batman soundtrack with Prince.
Yeah, it's cool. A couple stories, little uh kind of tidbits here. I might have told you this, but my cousins are the Boones, Greg, Calvin, Louis.
Oh man,
Yeah,
went to
on my
Central with
dad's
them.
side.
Yes,
So I have some photos. Greg was on Bryant's team with Prince and Dwayne Nelson.
that's
So
right.
yeah, and later Dwayne and Greg would star at Central High. So that
That's
brings back
right.
great memories too. So yeah, it's great. And then I used to go to Glam Slam back in the early 90s. And there were a few
We
times,
all did.
yeah, Sheila E. came up to me with her sister and asked me and my friend to dance like 2 weekends in a row, which was really a thrill, but it was kind of strange because there's like 10 bodyguards surrounding us.
Yep,
It
yep.
was really, but it was fun though. So I remember that, and I just had to put that in there. So
I love it.
yeah. So, just talk a little bit about Thankful, the new release, Jamesia Bennett, and what the spirit of
Yes.
that is, how powerful.
The spirit of Sounds of Blackness brand new single, Thankful, Brother Daryl, is one of gratitude. It's one of consciousness, written, as you mentioned, by our own Sounds of Blackness own Jamesia Bennett and uh, brother, we call him Buddy, Buddy McLean. Andre Locke is the father of the late Amir Locke, who, as I know you know, was tragically and wrongfully murdered by Minneapolis police, who went to the wrong apartment and killed his brother, killed his son. I say that in relation to the song "Thankful." People may think, well, what in the world does that have to do with this song? Well, Buddy's response, despite and throughout all of his anger and frustration and grief, was to still remain thankful for having had his son, for the years he had him, for life, for our culture, our people. And so as you talk to Buddy, he'll tell you that through all of that ordeal, just being thankful kept ruminating in his mind and in his heart. And so he collaborated with Jamesia to write the track. And Jamesia directed the video, and Sounds of Blackness, are honored, of course, to be a part of this. Because really, so in that way, it's both, Daryl, inspirational and conscious, because it's related to movement, because it's dealing with how his son died, but it's also dealing with the spirit and the heart and the mind and the soul in terms of how and what and why we react to it. Because thankfulness is not, the it seems to be counterintuitive, to be thankful. But he's saying, I'm thankful despite all of this. And so what Sounds of Blackness is saying with thankful is, if Buddy, whose son, and you and I have heard it say that the greatest loss in life is the loss of a child. So if he, with the loss of a tragic loss of a child, can still be thankful, then all of us can be as well.
Then also in that same vein, sick and tired after George Floyd's death 4 years ago, that also
Yes.
embodies that as well.
Yes, absolutely. We George, brother George, was murdered just 5 blocks from where we rehearse at Sabathani Community Center, and he was murdered on a Monday. And normally Sounds of Blackness rehearse on Tuesdays, but of course, I canceled rehearsal that night, and we were all at the rally on what is now known as George Floyd Square. And I'll never forget, the media downplayed. There were like tens of thousands of people there. You could not have fallen down literally if you wanted to. And in the midst of that crowd, Brother Daryl, a white teenage young lady came up to me, and she had her Black Lives Matter sign, and she apparently recognized me from the group. And she said, "Hey, Mr. Sounds of Blackness, I really love you guys. You're one of my favorite groups." And she said, "I know you guys are going to do a song about this." And I'll never forget the next thing she said, Daryl. She said, "Please don't make it a happy song." And I said, "Young lady, you know what? I promise you, we will not let that happen." And the moment I said that, Brother Daryl, I could hear the words of and the voice of the late great Fannie Lou Hamer, who gave that 1964 Democratic National Convention speech before the world, talking about brutality and injustice. And she said, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." I went home, was up for a couple of nights writing the song, brought the song to the group. We rehearsed it, we recorded it, and then Jamesia made her video directorial debut with "Sick and Tired" as well. So within about 10 days, we wrote, recorded, videoed, and released "Sick and Tired" in honor of George Floyd. And we don't just talk the walk, we walk the talk. And so we set it up where a portion of proceeds from any sales we give back to the George Floyd Scholarship Foundation.
Oh, that's just great to hear, to
Yeah.
have that legacy after what happened 4 years ago. That's really
Yes.
great. So overall, the theme for 2024 and Juneteenth, get to that to kind of ramp it up. We are the noise, the echoes of our ancestors. And we
Yes.
think about your music. The article says it's always about the movement for justice, equality at the center of our message. And Michelle Obama said so astutely, remember, it's not my America or yours, it's our America. Now, when you think about
Yes.
50 plus years of continuing culturally conscious music, talk about the Juneteenth spirit of echoes of our ancestors and how important that is for us all.
In reverse order, in terms of what your question embodies, Brother Darrell. First of all, yes, indeed, Juneteenth is an American holiday. Rooted in the African American experience and unapologetically so, but it is an American, totally and fully American holiday. A lot of people don't realize Juneteenth is not new. I know you know this, and it's not new in our community. Juneteenth started 1863. Um, and of course, June 1865, when 2 years later, after the Emancipation Proclamation in Galveston, Texas, when finally General Tecumseh Sherman and Union troops went down 2 years after emancipation had been declared to finally free those enslaved Africans, and hence the beginning of Juneteenth. But a lot of people think it's a recent holiday, but that, as I know you know, is the origin of Juneteenth. And Sounds of Blackness, when it was signed into law now a couple of years ago as a national holiday. It's like, okay, you know what? National holiday, it needs its own national anthem. And that was my inspiration to write Juneteenth Celebration. And similarly to Sick and Tired, brought that to the group. And we wrote, recorded, performed, and videoed that. Again, also probably within about a 2 week span. And now we're seeking to make Juneteenth anthem, the Juneteenth celebration, excuse me, the perennial Juneteenth anthem every year.
Yeah, I like that. And then you think about the echoes of our ancestors. We are the noise. I think you really kind
Yes.
of project that in your music. Just talk about that, lifting us all, with this theme of Juneteenth and going beyond to other years as well.
I love that theme, that title, Brother Darrell. We are the noise. I sent you one of Sounds of Blackness songs called "We Are the Drum," which is really saying the same thing, just with one word difference. It says, "We are the drum, Africa to America. We are the drum. We are the noise. We are the heart and soul. We are the spirit. We are the mind, body, and voice." And so from the motherland, Africa. So we are the noise. We are the drum. At the heart of it, the heart and spirit of Mother Africa and her children, from Africa to America, from yesterday to today.
Back on. A second here. Yeah. Any closing thoughts, some I missed or that you wanted to, I don't know, highlight, say?
When will this air or broadcast, my brother?
I'm going to be sending it to our communications committee, which I'm on, and then we'll
Mhm.
put it on our website. Try to do it today, I hope. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I'll use June.
So,
I might use some other segments at other times. It's also, oh yeah, it's Black Music Month. I was gonna
right,
write,
right, right, right. Yes.
yeah.
So I want to say that, and then invite people to Taste of Minnesota, and I think that would do it for me.
Okay. And then just quickly, Black Music Month, important as well as, you're doing this culturally conscious music.
Yes. It's so appropriate, of course, and by design, that June is Black Music Month, especially with the Juneteenth celebration in smack in the middle of the month. And so we release it and we re-release a Juneteenth celebration during Black History Month, and we have extra celebrations and commemorations, including Sounds of Blackness 53rd anniversary a couple of weekends ago, during Black Music Month. And again, Black Music Month, um, Afrocentrically centered, but this is again an American and even an international. It's about all people, and especially American, acknowledging and embracing African American music and acknowledging its roots and its origins and its creators, us, okay, and its origins in Mother Africa. And so we're blessed to be a part of Black Music Month festivities, activities, and commemorations. And next month, July 7th, Sounds of Blackness will be at noon at downtown Minneapolis, on stage in concert on the Nicollet Mall for Taste of Minnesota. So we just ask everybody to be in touch with us online, soundsofblackness.org, our website, all of the social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and just under our name, Sounds of Blackness. And we will correspond with you, and we thank you all.
Oh, thank you for that. I'm going to put that in there as well into the story and to go back to your website and you'll be having this taste of, you say taste of Minnesota?
Right, Taste of Minnesota. You're right. It's going to be in downtown Minneapolis this year. That
Okay.
weekend of July 6th, 7th. Yeah,
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, thank you for your time. I'll keep you up to date about these segments, and then also I'm working with the Cultural Wellness Center, moderating podcasts for Black men's wellness and wealth. It's on hold for now as we're trying to
Awesome.
see the messages we want to continue to gravitate. So I'd love to have you as a guest at some point. We got to get this going again. Hopefully next month. I'll keep you up to date on that as well.
I'm honored anytime, brother. I'm proud just to know you, and congratulations on everything you're doing, brother
You
Daryl.
too.
Awesomeness. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. And your availability is always appreciated, and it really uplifts me, makes my day better.
Oh, bless you, brother.
Okay, well, have a good one, and I'll keep you up to date and posted.
All right, and happy Juneteenth.
You too. Have a wonderful
All
Wednesday.
right, my brother.
All right,
God
bye.
bless.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Have